What's up guys? So in today's video I'll be talking about some of the stuff you need to know if you're considering raising backyard chickens or ducks from my experience in the past year and a half raising them. So I'm just gonna run through the list and talk to you guys about some of the things you should consider if you're thinking about raising these as a livestock. So I'm gonna go feed the chickens and the ducks, and what I like to give them, these are some pellet feeds, and I'll show you where I feed them. Hold the gate there. They all know the routine. So I'll come in here once a day, and I'll just toss this in there and feed them. I have another feeder inside their coop, but these chickens and the ducks, I feed them the pellets, and I have other feed that I also feed them. I'm going to show you guys that also. The chicken and duck food, they cost $30 each, so 60 bucks, and it tends to last between 2 months, rarely 3 months. But in the summertime, the chickens forage through the backyard, so they eat more bugs and stuff while they forage, so they tend to eat less feed. And the ducks, they tend to eat less in the summertime also. This is something else I also feed them. It's sunflower seeds with their eggshells and eggs mixed up in there. This also helps with the egg laying production. So in the winter time, I tend to mix up their eggs in their feed just to help out with the egg laying production because they slow down in the winter time. And some other stuff I give to them is corn. And I'll show you that also in a second. Got some corn, black oil, sunflower seed, duck food. But I'm gonna leave this in here, let these guys feed, and get into some of the other details about what you need to know while raising ducks and chickens. You guys go crazy. Another question is, how much eggs do you get from a chicken daily? And that would depend on the size of your flock. So for me, I have 6 adult laying hens. So I could get anywhere, well, it really depends. In the summer, they tend to lay very often. You could hear one of the hens in the background. She's mad. She went Brody and I kicked her off her nest because I'm about to go collect the eggs. But yeah, depending on the size of your flock, in the summertime, they could lay up to 6 eggs a day, depending on how much you have. I have 6, so that's why I said they could lay up to 6, as much as maybe 1 a day. But like I said, summertime, I find that they lay very consistent. In the wintertime, they tend to slow down, so I boost their feed. I add their eggs, eggshell, just to boost up their feed to help with egg laying production. But I'm gonna go in here and collect these eggs and let you see how much they laid in that past couple of days. And there's the mom out there. She's mad at me. But I'm gonna go collect these eggs. That's in my little box there. So right there I have 12 eggs, and for each chicken you have, you'll get 1 egg each a day. Sometimes though, they don't lay every day, but you tend to get an egg per chicken. The 2 Peking ducks, those 2 are males. I'll let you know the story behind those two, but sadly, I get no eggs from those two. This is Birkin and Marley. I got them as 3-day-old Peking ducks, so I didn't know what their gender was. I just ended up with the two of them, and as they got older, I realized they were both male. But another cool thing while raising ducks and chickens, their eggs tend to last longer if they go unwashed. The longest set of eggs I've had was 3 months, and I've had no issues with so far. They weren't expired or anything. So if you choose to raise ducks and chickens, that's another cool thing. You'll get a longer lasting egg if you leave it unwashed. To get fresh eggs from your chickens or ducks, you don't need a rooster or a drake. You just, as long as they're females, they'll keep on laying eggs. It's only if you plan on breeding the flock, you would either need a rooster for the hens or a drake with the ducks. Another thing to consider if you're raising ducks and chickens, if you have winter, I want to start off by saying get a heating panel. This is mine's in the coop, and when it's really cold, the chickens like to gather around this heating panel. Also, I use straw as the bedding inside the coop, but the heater definitely helps in the winter time when it's extremely cold and then they don't want to come out of the coop. And you could see I have a feeder on the inside also, and you want to make sure there's water for them to have access to in the winter. For the ducks, I don't have the best setup, but they're a bit more cold resistant in the winter. They come out even as cold as minus 15 days. And I do also have a heating panel inside their home. But this year I plan on making a bigger space for the ducks because they make a mess inside where they live. So if you're gonna get ducks, make sure you just build a big enough home for them in the winter, because they'll require just water and food and they spill everything everywhere. As for chickens, they keep their area generally clean. Today's a very hot day and they're all gathered around the pool. On hot days, the key thing you want to make sure you have is a source of water and shade for your chickens and ducks. You can see they're all drinking out the pool there, having a drink, and the ducks, one's in the water and the other one's under the shade. While it being plus 35 today, my coop has a shade cover and they have access to their coop if they need to go inside if it's too hot. Another thing to think of while raising chickens and ducks, I'm gonna start off with chickens first. Chickens, I find they're very low maintenance. Since I've had them, I haven't had any real issues. You just need to replace their bedding, and just as long as they have food and water, they tend to just keep their area clean. But for ducks, if you're thinking about getting ducks, I'm gonna show you the pool over here. With ducks, they need water, and regardless of whatever water source I ever have for them, they always make a big mess. This one, thankfully enough, it has a little drain on the edge of the pool, so I could release the water out of it when I want to drain it. But for the most part, the ducks, I would say they're pretty messy, but I've raised these guys since they were 3 days old, so I definitely have a different type of love and bond for them. But I don't think in the future I would raise ducks, just because of how much more maintenance in a sense they need, and they kind of need a bigger space opposed to chickens. They're low maintenance and they just mainly scratch around and that's it. They tend to keep their area clean for the most part. So that's something you should keep in mind if you're thinking about ducks versus chickens. One of them is a bit more low maintenance than the other one, They require just a bit more attention and just water. And they make a mess and they poop a lot, these guys. Another thing to think about while raising ducks and chickens, what do you plan on doing once they basically stop laying as much? Because once they get to about 3 to 5 years, their egg production tends to slow down. So some of the stuff you need to think about, like, are you going to be keeping your flock after a certain age and stuff like that. So keep in mind, they don't keep on laying every day past a certain age. Something to consider when adding new members to the flock. These were some chickens that I had gotten, and it took about 7 days for them to get adjusted into the coop with the other chickens. I had them separated for a little bit until they got familiar with the others, and then after then they fit in like normal. And with chickens, they have a pecking order, so normally give them a couple days to figure out things, and then they'll just fit in with the others normally. Even though they all still get along, there's always a leader in the group, as you could see from this encounter. And that's the leader right there. Once she wants something, they know to move out the way. Let's go. Oh, she's hurt. While raising ducks and chickens, something to consider when they pass away, what you're gonna do with them. There's different ways and different methods how you could properly dispose of them. Some people bury them in the backyard, some people add them to their garden, some cremate them. There's a whole bunch of different methods or different steps you could take after you lose a member of your livestock or from your flock. This was one of my hens. When we left and went out, she was fine. We came back home. Something was wrong with her and we noticed. She ended up passing away. She didn't make it through the night. But I learned something through observation, at least from what I saw. I thought one of the other chickens were sick, but I think this is the chicken on the left. I think the chicken knew Peaches passed away. So for about 3 days, she wasn't her normal self. This hen went Brody. She's been hey, chill out. I already got the eggs, but I'm gonna leave them alone. Sometimes the hens go Brody, where they get a bit more protective. They're trying to hatch their eggs. So keep in mind, if you see them doing this, sometimes they just went Brody or Broody. But all you have to do is keep on removing the eggs from the coop to break the Broody or Brody cycle. You could let me know in the comments. I keep on saying that, I don't know, incorrectly. But yeah, just remove the eggs from the coop and that's it. But if you do decide you want to raise ducks and chickens, you can raise them together as in the same flock. I haven't had any issues while raising my ducks and chickens together in the same environment. And even though the ducks are males, they haven't tried to do anything with the chickens at all. So if you do had any concerns about raising ducks and chickens together in the same environment, for me personally, I haven't had any issues. So that's some of the list of things you need to know if you're thinking about raising ducks or chickens. But if you find this video useful or informational, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. And I'm gonna head on over to the garden. But until next time, take care.